theatre fans, and welcome back to my channel. So today, Saturday the 28th of July, I am at the Wales Millennium Centre once again, and this time I am seeing the national theatre production of Warhorse, a show I've never seen. I've heard many things about, I've seen the film, I've read the book, but I've never actually got around to seeing it, so I'm very, very excited. I'm here with my friend Catherine. Say hello, Catherine. She's very shy on cam. And so just about to go in, and I will give you my thoughts and opinions on the show later on.
So Joey to the army. I, Albert Narracott, do solemnly swear that we shall be together again.
Okay, and welcome back to my review part of the vlog. So, as you've just seen, I went to see Warhorse at the Wales Millennium Centre in Cardiff. It's my usual go-to theatre that I regularly visit as often as I can. It's a great theatre, and I always enjoy the productions that come to the venue, and they always seem to bring in the big shows, and we've got quite a few shows looking forward to coming later on this year and next year as well. So as I just said, I went to see the 10th anniversary of Warhorse, and I always get a programme, usually get the general programme like this, which has got obviously bios and character lists and actors' names, but I also get the souvenir brochure, which this one is the 10th anniversary of Warhorse souvenir brochure. I don't know if you can see on the front there, we've got a little emboss on both sides of the horse, and which is just there. It's a nice quality programme as well, and this one is what I call the picture book, and it's got some lovely pictures, shots of the production itself, as well as some storylines. A lot of this is also in the smaller programme as well, but I do like to one of these souvenir brochures because it's memories of the production and the show, and the quality in the pictures are just absolutely stunning as well. So yeah, I've been wanting to see this show for a while. Now, I'm more of a musical fan than a play, but this one sort of combined the two. It's a majority a play, but with a little bit of singing and music throughout as well. So Warhorse is based on the Michael Morpurgo book of the same name, and it's a simple story, if I'm being honest, of a foal that is born wild and is caught and later put up for auction, and this farmhand decides to buy it, and they grow a big bond together. The war breaks out and the horse is then sent away to battle in the war, much to the anguish and heartache of the young farmhand who has obviously grown a bond with the horse. So then you follow the journey of the horse through the terrible war itself, about what happens to the army and the horses themselves as well, because a lot is written about the men and women who fought and died in the war, but very little is written about the animals, because a lot of the horses were involved in the war and a lot have died over the years, hence why the book was actually written in the first place. So going back to the story, so the horse is sent away to war. The farmhand then, who is I think just 17, is too young to join the army, but actually sort of signs up anyway by lying about his age and gets sent off to war in the hope of finding his beloved horse. So the story then intertwines about what happens to the horse and what happens to the farmhand, and then it gets to the end of the story where Joey the horse is quite old now and has done a lot of his time in the army in the war, and they're about to shoot him when he is found by his owner, and they are reunited at the very end. So it's a nice happy ending after all. So yeah, it is a very, very simple story, but cleverly acted out. There is no set. I mean, the staging is very, very clever. You would have a screen right across the top of the stage in the form of a cloud, which will projects elements of the story, like the war. You'd have the bombs coming down, or if you're in the village, you'd have the cathedral and some of the houses there. If you're in the fields, there'd be trees and birds, etc., flying past. So it is very, very clever in that sort of sense. But props-wise, very minimal. You know, for the farm itself, you would have just a door or a window frame to represent the farmhouse. The barriers, the pens that the horses are kept in are literally a cast member would come on holding a piece of wood, like a pole, and they'd to make the fence. The tank itself that comes on is literally just a frame of the big tractor wheels coming round. Yeah, very, very simple and very effective, because you use a lot of your imagination and the sounds itself as well that comes through to enhance that experience as well. But obviously the main element of the show, of course, is the puppetry of the horses. And I thought there's only going to be one or two horses, but in fact there's probably about 6 or 7 different horses throughout the whole of this show, but Joey being the main one. And wow, I've got to be honest, I take my hat off for the actors who, or the puppeteers rather, who bring these horses to life. Literally within minutes, you forget that these horses are not real. It was just the subtle movements that these actors did with the horse, like the swishing of the tail, the little nod of the head, the little ear will flick, or the little body will go up and down. And it was just so realistic. It was just so clever. You literally generally felt that these horses were living and breathing on the stage. You know, I've seen puppet shows before, but nothing like this. And I was blown away. And you do grow attached to these characters. And I do honestly take my hat off to these puppeteers. Now, I read in the programme that the puppeteers are rotated, and I can understand why, because it must be very, very strenuous and hard work to control a puppet on a large scale. I don't like calling it a puppet, but you know what I mean. Must be very difficult to control these movements and be in those positions for so long. 2.5 hours per show, something like 8 times a week. So it must get very, very tiring. And these skeletons or these horses are not light, I can imagine. They, even some of the cast members are actually climbing on top and riding them as well. So very talented people, very talented people. And at the end, when we have the bows, they come out of their respectable shells, and they come and take their bows, and they rightly deserve their standing ovation because what they did was incredible. There are 3 puppeteers that make the horse come to life. You have one in the hind, one in the front, and then one who stands on the outside to control like the ears and the head, and also does the voices of the noises of the horses. But yeah, generally blown away. I mean, I've seen clips over the years, I've seen the trailers, I've seen pictures, but actually physically seeing them live on stage right in front of you, just wow. There are also other animals in the show that are puppets that are brought to life as well. There is a goose, which is so realistic and literally stole the show for me, and I think the whole audience as well, because every time the goose is on stage, it did something absolutely hysterical, and it's got the audience really going. And again, there's only one puppeteer for the goose, and there was just the subtleness of the movements, that mimicked so well of a proper goose as well, that you'd think, wow, it is actually it could be a goose live on stage, flying and chasing and pecking and everything. And what also I loved about not just the horses and the goose as well, was that even when the actors were interacting with each other, you know, my eyes were drawn to the horse and the goose and the other animals that were on stage to see what they were doing, and they were mimicking real life animals as if they were on that stage, like, I don't know, eating something off the floor, or swishing their tail, scratching, making funny noises. You know, it was just so natural, and it's incredible. And the birds are all on these big large long poles rather, and going back to that large cloud, that projection on the up high up on the stage, and these birds were literally swooping on these sticks, and it genuinely looked like real birds were flying on that stage, little swallows. Just clever, so clever, and it makes me wonder, why does it take me so long to see this show? I wish I'd seen it sooner. Okay, so I'm not going to go through everybody in the characters. It's quite a large cast that bring the show together, and because the actors swap roles a lot in the for different shows as well. I don't know exactly who was on the night that I saw it as well, but I mean, you've got literally 3 people as Joey's head, you've got 3 people playing Joey as the foal, you've got 3 people playing Joey's heart, or the front part of the body, you've also got 3 as the hind, and so on. So, you know, there's a lot of actors involved in this, and every single one of them did an incredible job, even if they were just standing around as part of the set. Like I said, whether they were holding the fence or the house or the carts, etc. Everybody was an integral part of the show, and they all worked well together as well. And like I said, even though it was a simple show, it was a very effective show as well, and very touching as well. And by the end of it, I think everybody had a lump in their throat as well, and it's definitely worth seeing. I booked this ticket last minute. I literally booked it a few days before going, because I was umming and ahhing whether to go and see it, but I'm glad I did. And so I didn't sit in my usual stalls near the front of the stage. I decided to sit further back, so I sat in row T21, which is still in the middle but a lot further back in the stalls. And I gotta say, it was still a great view from the seat. In fact, anywhere in the Wales Millennium has got a great seat. I tend not to go further up, but that's just my own preference. There's nothing wrong with sitting higher up in the upper circle. I've actually sat there a few times before on other shows. I do like to have a bit of variety, but if it's a show I haven't seen before, I generally tend to sit down in the stalls near the front. But with this one, I decided to sit further back just to take it all in, and yeah, it was great. I thoroughly enjoyed, and I would certainly recommend anybody who's about going to see it. I would. and it is currently touring in the UK. I'm not too sure how long it's got left or how many more venues it has to visit, but if you do get the opportunity or chance, then I would highly recommend that you go and see it, because just for the puppeteers of the horses himself, just deserve the attendance, because they do an incredible job. So I hear that it is going back to London, back to its original home of the National Theatre at some point, either later this year or definitely next year. So if you have seen the show, I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on it. So why not leave your comments down below? And if you like this video, please hit the like button. And if you want to see more of my videos, then please hit that subscribe button as well. I regularly visit the theatre as often as I can. I've got quite a few shows coming up now later on this year, and there will be more reviews coming up very shortly. So thank you for watching, and until next time, happy theatre.